Hello, my name is Martin Schroeder. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Caped Crusader, commonly known as Batman. Most of you know of Batman and have a personal link to him. If you've ever watched a superhero film and enjoyed it, he's one of the original heroes to thank for that. My credibility is I'm a comic enthusiast and collector of over 900 comic books, including research up to 8 years on characters in comics. Over the next 7 minutes or so, I will inform you about the history of Batman in comics, abilities and feats, his impact as a cultural icon, and the upcoming film, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. I want to help you understand the significance of Batman in today's society. I want to start with the first publication of Batman, which was Detective Comics number 27, 1938. Batman is the second earliest superhero, with Superman being the first, and they both spawned the Golden Age of superheroes, which lasted from 1938 to 1950. Batman's origins have remained virtually the same since its debut 75 years ago. Batman has gained a very large and iconic roadkill. His parents were gunned down in an alley after seeing the mark of Zorro. Zorro's who Batman's based off of. Bruce then made a promise to rid the city of the criminal element that took his parents' lives. Soon afterwards, he began training and mentally preparing himself for the upcoming war on criminals, becoming a master detective, gaining a master's degree in criminology, mastering most forms of martial arts. He also has a genius level intellect and is an escape artist. Batman has a long list of writers and authors, notably Bill Finger, Bob Kane, Scott Snyder, and Frank Miller. Frank Miller is credited with bringing the dark tone that we now see as commonplace in Batman stories today. Batman's career as a crime fighter is up to over 25 years. Batman has gained a very large and iconic rogues gallery. Many of Batman's villains have inspired the creation of other villains. The comic villain Spider-Man, Carnage, that's his name. He was inspired by the Joker. Batman has accomplished many amazing feats despite having no special powers. A great example of this would be in the comic Batman Endgame, in which Batman faces off against a mind-controlled Superman. He dons a high-tech battlesuit to even the odds, and finally defeating Superman with a kryptonite gun that he spit into his eye. Now that I've told you a little bit about Batman's history, we can move on to Batman's impact as a cultural icon. Batman is one of the most widely recognizable figures in today's media. He has had 8 major cinematic appearances, and The Dark Knight, directed by Christopher Nolan, is known as one of the greatest films of all time. Batman has merchandise that spreads far and wide, from keychains to clothing to cologne. I might be wearing some. Batman's iconic bat symbol emblazoned on his chest typically represents justice. For many children, Batman is their favorite hero because they can grow up to be just like him. A fine example of this would be the child known as Bat Kid. Miles Scott, a 5-year-old boy who had a wish to be the real Batman, Miles Scott, a 5-year-old boy who survived cancer, had a wish to be the real Batman. Inspired by Batman, he viewed his battle against cancer as a battle of good versus evil. The parents promoted the cause online, and it spread like wildfire. And on November 15, 2013, his wish became a reality as hundreds of thousands of people flooded into San Francisco and helped transform it into Gotham City, setting up scenarios where he would save the day from the Riddler and whatnot. It was really cute. And people cheered him on as he drove through the streets with his mentor, and he inspired millions. This miraculous example of humanity all stemmed from one child's love of Batman, and how he used the idea of Batman to overcome the odds. Superheroes inspire us all, even though they're only fictional characters. Another great example of cultural significance would be the man from Hagerstown, Maryland, known as Lenny B. Robinson. He was known as the real-life Batman, or the Route 29 Batman. He would visit children in hospitals dressed as Batman. Robinson would post pictures of family bringing Batman memorabilia and encouraging kids to fight their illnesses and live on. Unfortunately, on August 16th, 2015, Lenny had mechanical issues with his custom Batmobile and was struck by oncoming traffic and killed. Before his death, however, he had one last meet with a family at the gas station, and they all recall their meeting with the real-life Batman. As you can see, Batman has a very large cultural impact and is a very inspiring character to look up to. Now I want to talk about the upcoming film Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. This film is a direct follow-up to 2013's Man of Steel, with all the main characters reprising their roles and with Ben Affleck filling in the roles of the Caped Crusader. And it is also the second installment in the DC Cinematic Extended Universe, which will kick off with 2 films per year after that to rival that of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This film uses many elements from the graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns, which was written by Frank Miller. It shows an aging Batman who comes out of retirement to fight the criminal element once more, and ends with a cinematic climactic battle between Batman and Superman, in which Batman pulls an upset victory. This film marks the first time Batman and Superman will share the silver screen, along with the cinematic debut of Wonder Woman, who is a cultural icon in her own right. She will be played by Gal Gadot. This movie has encountered some backlash from fans due to the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman. As a comic enthusiast and fan myself, I can understand some of that outcry. However, I do have one theory as to why Ben Affleck would be a great Batman, and that is that no one thinks he can be. Just like no one thinks Bruce Wayne could ever be Batman in the comics. Ben Affleck won an Academy Award and Golden Globe Award for Best Original Screenplay for Good Will Hunting, to name just a few of his achievements. I have more, but for the whole time. Affleck has also been involved in politics and charitable causes. He founded the Eastern Congo Initiative, which is very similar to what Bruce Wayne does as a philanthropist. Now that I've talked your ear off about the world's greatest detective, let me begin to wrap things up with my conclusion. To conclude my speech, whether you're a fan of DC Comics or Marvel Comics, the lore of Batman has helped to pave the way for superheroes to be successful in today's media. And he is undoubtedly a cultural icon and an inspiration to just about everybody. When Batman coming to the big screen once again in 2016 will be a great movie experience, and you can count on me to be one of the first people to see it, as I said in my last speech. Batman has helped me view my personal struggles in life in a positive light, which is why I chose to talk about Batman today. He's more than just a fictional character to me, and Miles Scott, Lenny B. Robinson, and the children he visited at the hospital can also attest to that. In summary, I talked about the history of Batman. Batman is a cultural icon, and the upcoming film Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. To make my final point, I will quote the Dark Knight himself. A hero can be anyone, even a man doing something as simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders, letting him know the world had an end. End quote. Thank you.